everybody. What day is today? It's the day this podcast is coming to your ears via magic.
Straight through the magical ripples of time, Magic the Amateur delivered to you on a silver platter of goodness.
That's right. How does audio technology work? Well, it's all a mystery, even to the people who created it.
That's right. If you look in history books, under the entry of audio technology, there's just a question mark.
Exactly. There's a bunch of pictures of scientists creating things that they don't know what they do.
But one thing that we know what we do is how we do, and how we do is good.
One thing what we know how we do. What we do, we talk magic. What kind of magic? Magic the Gathering. How we talk it? Good.
We talk it real good. And today we gonna talk it about Hour of Devastation.
That's right. What kind of Hour of Devastation talking are we doing? We're doing talking pre-release times.
That's right. Pre-release times was the hap this past week. And we played in not one, not two, but 3 total over there, 2 total over here. So we've got a lot of thoughts up in our magic brains to tell you.
That's right. This is the podcast Magic the Amateuring. I'm one of your hosts, Megan.
And I'm one of your hosts, Maria Good.
And we know how sentences work.
Sometimes. Like we mentioned, of course, Hour of Devastation is the news of the week, and we had a lot of fun playing the pre-release this past weekend, so we're going to talk about how that went, talk about some of the all-stars in our deck, some of the none-stars in our deck, if you know what I mean. There's some real junkers in there, but some real surprises as well as what turned out to be good, and we're going to tell you all about that, and we've got a special treat. We've got 2 special treats for you this show, actually.
We do. The first is our friend Sam is going to come on and tell you all about a type of cube that he's super invested in called Peasant Cube.
Peasant Cube.
Peasant Cube. It's not just what feudal lords call other people's houses.
Say, how many peasant cubes do you have on your land, Jeffrey?
Oh, my goodness. I have nearly 20 peasant cubes and 80 peasants living in them.
Interesting.
Yes.
I have 18 peasant cubes, but 1,000 peasants within.
My goodness. How many peasants are crowded into those peasant cubes?
To tell you the truth, Jeffrey, I don't really know. I just stack them one on top of the other, like so many Legos, human Lego bricks, if you will.
Yes. Have you seen a nice horse recently? I purchased a nice horse.
Oh, it is lovely.
Thank you.
But how is its mouth?
Its mouth is fine.
Can it make other horses if you gain life?
Yes.
Excellent.
As long as I gain life, my horse immediately creates another indestructible horse.
Oh, that's how birth works.
Yes.
Actually, to tell you the truth, Peasant Cube is a really cool cube format, and if you've been wanting to build your own cube, which we do get a lot of messages about, and you don't have $1 million to spend on it, like Cube April that we know, you can, try out Peasant Cube or something like that, and we're going to figure out how to build that with help from our friend Sam later in the episode.
That's right. We're also going to have a very special new flavor text theater coming at you.
Yes.
It is great.
Megan is very excited for it. She wrote us some flavor text.
Yes.
And Sam and I are going to have to decide which is real flavor text and which is fake that Megan wrote.
Yes, we're going to play a 2 truths and a lie style where they're going to try and spot the fake flavor text amongst the real ones.
Oof, I already know I'm going to be just rubbish at this, to quote a British novelist.
Yes,
just rubbish.
A feudal
lord. Just rubbish.
Before we get started, though, we have to thank our people. We know how sentences work.
Thank people.
The thankiest thanks we're giving to thank people are you, our listeners, and those of our listeners that support us on Patreon. It really does mean the world to us. We put a lot of work into the products that we bring to you. We're very proud of the work that we do, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of equipment, and you make all of that possible. You make the standards to which we hold ourselves. You let us set those standards very high so that we can provide you the very best that we think that we're capable of doing.
Yeah, we really like to be a voice in the community that's giving you something that hopefully you can't find anywhere else. And so if you're thankful for for receiving that, or if we give you anything like a laugh, like some knowledge going into a pre-release, anything like that, consider please donating at least $1 an episode, and you can head over to patreon.com/MTAcast to help us out there. You become a member of the Less Than 1% Club. You get free perks. You get perks based on the level that you want to join at. We've got Squirrel level. We've got Gremlin level. We've
Double
got,
cute.
what's the next one? Angel level and Desolation Twin level, and those are based on the dollar amount you give, and you get access to cool stuff like our Discord chat and free gifts as well. So head on over to that website and check it out. We've got really fun extra bonus Patreon content there as well that you can see. If you become a member today, you get access to everything from before. Woo! It's like going back in time to a super sweet space.
Also, thank you very much to our sponsor, cardkingdom.com. cardkingdom.com/MTAcast is our affiliate link. And are you pointing? Maria's pointing at it. If you are watching the YouTube video, you can see it with your eyes, in case the way that I said it didn't make sense. Which is highly possible considering the way my sentences have been going so far this episode.
You're a visual learner.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
it is.
You can also stick a note in the comments of your order, and they will slap an MTA sticker. They will slap an MTA sticker into your order if you ask for one.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get a hold of, one, some really sick materials that you need to play Magic, like boosters if you want to get your hands on more Hour of Devastation packs or whole boxes,
so
or
beautiful.
you need sleeves, or you need binders. You can check out all of that stuff there. Pick it up. It's pretty sweet.
Plus, did you know this? A new standard's going to be happening.
That's right, it is.
And if you want to build that sweet cat tribal or horse tribal deck, that's right.
Yes.
I'm really trying to push this.
Maria's really pushing horse tribal. Really pushing it.
On Patreon, cardkingdom.com/MTAcast to let them know that you are a patron or supporter of this show. Even if you're not a patron, you can support us by going through our affiliate link and get those cards for that horse deck, because damn it, I want to see it.
Yeah.
It's time to talk Hour of Devastation pre-release. I'm just casually sitting here waiting for my senior portrait.
Yeah, that is what you're doing. I'm here waiting for my glamour shot.
Ooh, glamour shot.
Yeah, do you remember those?
Oh, yes.
I'm like,
Never
it
had
was
one,
such
though.
a thing. Everybody had them. And I
Really?
remember being like, it was such a big thing in my school.
Oh.
Like,
Didn't get
so
up to
many
Minnesota.
people had them.
Like they just had like just when? When did they have them?
Like, in high school.
For their senior pictures?
No, these
Just
are just
having?
like things that people did. Did you not have that?
No.
I assumed that this was a national phenomenon.
We
when
only
it
did our
happened.
senior pictures, which, I mean, you could constitute those as glamour shots, but they were really
No,
the same
like,
thing.
We're talking about like the place where you go in the mall and you specifically get pictures done.
Sure, and your face is floating in the background.
Yeah, and it's
Soft
just like
focus.
it's like, yeah, exactly. There's like lots of soft focus, and there's like, you know, like makeup and hair nicely done.
Definitely did not do that.
Oh my goodness, it was such a thing.
Meghan, did you have a glamour shot?
I did not know.
Wow, I'm
But I, like, you know,
Yeah.
I saw lots of other people's glamour shots.
Do you know what a fun game is?
What?
Typing your name plus glamour shot into Google and seeing the first result.
Why?
I don't know. Why do we play any game?
Do you think that there might be a secret glamour shot of you in the world?
Like maybe somebody just went and took a glamour shot of you.
Exactly, but you didn't know it?
Yeah, Meghan glamour shot it, even auto completed.
Ooh.
Let's find the first. Ooh, there's some nice.
I know, this first one is great.
The first one's great. The second.
What? Wait a second. At the top it says showing results for MEGAN glamour shot.
Google?
You mother effer.
Google change your name.
Excuse me, Google. I don't think so.
Okay, let's change it. Horrifying.
Well, the first one is a man in a neck brace without a shirt on.
With like a skin-colored bodysuit
Oh, no,
on.
you're right. It's a skin-colored bodysuit and a neck brace. Well, if that doesn't just describe me, I don't know what does.
Fun game. Anyway, what were we talking about? Hour of Devastation.
Hour of Devastation. We weren't talking about anything
No, we
except
weren't.
glamour
We
shots.
weren't. We really weren't.
So, Maria.
Yes.
We went to a lot of pre-release events this weekend.
We did. We really
Great.
pre-released it right
Yeah,
the heck up.
we did.
And my, like overall thoughts on the format it seemed very fun. I can't say, oh, it felt a lot slower, a lot faster, because sealed does generally just feel a little slower in general.
Yeah.
I played a 7-drop, no problem.
Nice.
So there's that.
I had a deck with 3 7-drops.
And was it an issue?
Drops. I mean, the fact that the rest of the deck wasn't good was an issue.
Sure.
There were times when I like cast a 7-drop on turn 5. I had a lot of ramp. That was great.
The fixing's totally fine.
Fixing,
Traveler's
totally great.
Amulet.
Play 3 colors. Just do it.
Manolith. Yeah.
YOLO.
I think I played 3 colors in both of my pre-releases.
Yeah.
And it was totally fine. Yeah, like, do you want to talk about any of your standouts from some of your decks? You had a couple of really sweet decks.
Yeah, I did. My first and third ones. The second one in the middle was the one with 3 7-drops. It was very medium.
Middle child syndrome.
Yeah, that one went 2/2.
Okay.
It was just sort of like,
Yeah.
I did have 2 Chaos Maws.
What's Chaos Maw?
It's the 6/6 that when it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to everything.
Sick.
I mean, it's like... It's
That's
a good card.
6/6 for 6.
It's a good card, but sometimes it doesn't kill your opponent's creatures and they just kill you anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Eternalize are 4/4s.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. But on Sunday, I got to play an Approach of the Second Sons deck.
Ooh.
And that went 3-0, and then I drew the last round. And, well, like, intentionally drew it. And, like, I got to kill people with Approach of the Second Son 3 times.
That's so good.
It was just the most amazing feeling to be like, am I really going to do this? Like, I built the deck being like, haha, Approach of the Second Son. And then I was like, wait, no.
Oh, wait, this card
is going to win me half of my games.
And your deck, like you said, you built it and you weren't all that impressed looking at it. But
no.
The secret was that it had a lot of ways to draw cards.
It had so much card draw, and it had a lot of Eternalize.
Yeah.
Which was great also. I mentioned this. You can go check out if you want to hear more about this pre-release.
Yes.
We made a little video, which is on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MTAcast. You can hear all about our stuff and our friends' stuff as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was like, there's a 2/4 that's 3 and a blue. And it says, when it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a card with Embalm or Eternalize and put it into your graveyard. And then whenever you use an Embalm or Eternalize ability, you draw a card.
That's great.
And in my deck, it was so good.
So
it was amazing.
You also had the Scarab God paid you a visit in this deck
The
as well.
Locust God.
The Locust God.
Correct.
And you made a lot of insects.
Yes, because I had so much card draw. Gosh. And like, I never waited a full 6 turns between casting Approach of the Second Sons. I always drew.
Just drew the
like
card.
I had like so many ways to like draw 2 or 3 cards. So it was like maybe 3 turns.
Sick.
It was great.
That sounds
so
like a pretty fun deck too. And like Megan said, you can check it on our YouTube channel. You can see the entire build of it because I did get a shot of it. So you can see how she put it together, which might be useful to you if you want to do the same thing. But you mentioned Eternalize.
I loved it. God, yeah.
We talk about this in the video as well.
Yeah.
Eternalize, I was mega impressed with Megamorph 2.0.
Yes. It's so good.
It's so good.
You just get 4/4s.
Yeah.
And 4/4s are big creatures.
4/4 is a 4/4.
I think when I first looked at Eternalize, I didn't give that enough credit.
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, fine, you get the creature back, but it's a 4/4. Who cares? But in this format, 4/4s are big.
They're so big. I'm trying to find your blue card.
So
from
a lot
before.
of times that was just like it was enough, you know. I think it's a Vizier, so go a little bit
the
farther down.
Vizier.
Yeah, Vizier of the Anointed.
There it is.
So good, great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
sounds pretty sweet. So my decks were both pretty medium, and so I'll just kind of talk about them at the same time because there's nothing really to write home about other than a few interesting interactions and whatnot that happened while I was playing them. The first one, my promo card was a Ramunap Hydra, which gets +1/+1 for a desert that you control, and 1 +1/+1 again for 1 in the graveyard. And so it was kind of fun to be able to play this card and attack. It has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample, and then cycle a desert and be able to just get them out of nowhere. I had a pretty fun blowout with that. Deserts, by the way. Great. I'm a huge desert fan. Like, we did a video of top 10 worst rares to open and sealed, and we kind of rained on a couple of deserts that, to be fair,
they
deserved
needed it
to be rained on.
Yes.
But I just want to put out there, I'm not a desert hater. I do actually like them, and I think they're pretty cool and fun to play with.
Absolutely.
So the bonuses are sweet.
Yeah, they are. Cycling is great.
Cycling's great.
Still great.
That camel that has lifelink with deserts.
Ooh, so good.
Legit.
Yeah.
Camel tribal. I wish all the camels could have lifelink if you had a desert.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cute. But the other card I wanted to mention very briefly is Burning Fist Minotaur, which I talk about in the video too. 2/1 first striker. If you pay 1 in a red and discard a card, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Basically unblockable in the end of the game. It's a great little 2-drop. If you're being aggressive, or you know what, even if you're just playing green-red beats, which is what I was in this deck, pick up that card. Overperformed.
Nice. Real nice.
So yeah, that was the two kind of standouts for my first deck. Ambuscade, as you know, just hits hard and is a great card. Fervent Paincaster, the pinger in the format.
Love that card.
Very impressive. Did you? My other rare was a Wildfire Eternal.
Yeah.
Which is I just want to mention because it's better in draft because you can build around it. You get to cast instants or sorceries for free if it's not blocked when it attacks. It has Afflict 4. But the thing is that I never really had any instants or sorceries to cast with this thing. Sometimes I had 1 or 2. But the fact of the matter is my opponents were terrified that I was going to cast something for free. And very frequently this card was just a lightning rod. They were like, I have to get rid of that thing immediately, which was an interesting interaction. It, didn't really hold its own, but what it did was just stop people from killing my other creatures.
Yeah. Nice.
That's my tactic called, it's not really a great creature. You don't really have any great creatures, but guess what? What if I did have a really sick card to cast?
What if I did?
What if I had an Hour of Revelation that I'm casting for free? What about that?
What about that?
I didn't.
Hey everybody, we're here with a friend of the show, Sam, to talk about Peasant Cube. What's a cube? It's where you build a cube of cards.
So I just need to stack cards on top of each other and then around and then down, and I've made a cube.
Exactly. I told you we would explain what a cube was at the top. I think I just did a very satisfactory job of it.
Very good.
I assume that most people who got past 3rd grade know what a cube is, but...
Correct.
Slam.
You can hear all about building other types of cube on our episode with Cube April.
Yes.
Which we will link to in the comments of the episode. But other than that,
it's 100 cards, or not 100 cards. They're all different.
Yes.
Every card is different.
So it's X number of cards. There's different sizes. We'll talk about that in a second. But where it's singleton, and you build different packs, booster packs essentially out of it, and draft them.
And you can draft them for the rest of your life, potentially, if you build a good enough cube. You can keep modifying, adding new cards to it, taking cards out, and playing with your friends over and over and over again. And you can build an expensive cube, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, or a more budget-friendly cube, which Pauper is. Sam, tell us what the heck is Pauper Cube as opposed Peasant Cube as opposed to Pauper Cube.
So Peasant and Pauper Cube, you might know Pauper as like the term from the format that's all commons.
Yes.
Right. And so Pauper Cube is a cube that just only has commons in it. Peasant is an old school format that basically no one plays now that is commons and uncommons only. So
that makes sense. Checks out.
So Peasant Cube is really great because you're limiting yourself to just like commons and uncommons. You keep the power level at sort of like a manageable level. You know, if you're online playing Vintage Cube, it doesn't even feel like playing real Magic, right? It feels like fun as hell, but like not.
It's very very OP.
You can definitely say hell.
Right.
Hell is on Magic cards. So.
Yeah, okay, that checks out. So Peasant Cube, it's like pretty cheap to put together because you only play with commons and uncommons, and it's the power level is really manageable because you're only playing with commons and uncommons. But you also get to do stuff like, because so many, especially in Modern Limited, so many of the like sets have all these like really cool build around me uncommons.
Yeah.
You can take sort of the best of those from all across Magic and put them together in these like sweet synergy decks and get to play this thing that like feels like traditional great limited Magic while also being like free to draft and like play over and over and like more powerful than standard limited, and it's just wonderful. So the reason like I specifically have an attachment to Peasant Cube is because when I was sort of transitioning from being a person who didn't have friends that played Magic,
I thought you were just going to stop with didn't have friends.
Yeah, well,
I was going from a person who didn't have friends.
Freshman year of college was a hard time, but When we were like, I finally found like a group of people that like wanted to play Magic with me all the time. What we did was we just like built this Peasant Cube and then just played. You know, there were only like 4 of us drafting at any given time. We would just play 4-mans, but we just like 4-man twice a night, every night for a whole summer, and did that like
Holy
3
cow.
summers in a row or something.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and by doing that, we went from people who like didn't really play Magic to people who like grind Grand Prix, and not just in terms of like commitment to the love of the thing, but also in terms of like getting a lot better by doing it. Because depending on how you build your Peasant Cube, you can it really, in a way that like other cubes are about like having fun and like wild decks, and almost, you know, sometimes you end up feeling like you're playing EDH or what have you. Like, because the Peasant Cube is much more grounded, it really works on those like fundamentals of limited play a lot more. And so we got to like translate those skills over to getting good.
So
Nice.
just base level question, how many cards are in your Peasant Cube?
Yeah, so my traditional Peasant Cube has always had about 450 cards in it, a little bit less than that, maybe 420.
That's a lot of cards.
The goal has always been to like get under. So what you want a minimum in any cube. You probably want a minimum of about 360 cards. 360 cards is how many are used in a 8-man draft. So if you are regularly drafting with 8 people, then 360 means you're drafting with the same 360 cards every time. So
Yeah.
if you're regularly drafting with 8 people, you probably want a larger cube. I think the online cubes tend to be about 540 cards,
Okay.
which means you're using 2/3 of all the cards in any given 8-man draft.
Yeah.
When we were doing, excuse me.
This is Sam. He likes Pamplemousse LaCroix.
Hey, when you use I can't remember where I was now. It just like took it all out of me.
420 cards.
Right. So when you're playing
360 cards.
right,
Yeah.
when you're playing mostly with like 4 people, or if you're excited 6 people like we were at the
Yeah.
time, then like 400, 450 is like this good number where you're using about half the cards every time, and so
Yeah.
you have like a lot of rotation, you get a lot of variety, while at the same time having more room. Our goal was always to get down to like under 400 to like keep things manageable, but there's
Yeah.
just so many fun cards you want to include in your cube all the time that you gotta like you gotta get more cards in there. And then they just keep putting out new sets. I don't know how to keep track of them all.
I love the point that you made that there's a lot of build around me uncommons,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the times in draft we don't get to really utilize those because the strategy doesn't come together for us,
Yeah.
or perhaps there wasn't enough support to make it a good deck.
Yeah.
Well, you can put it in a cube and be like, hey, guess what? I'm going to make this a viable strategy in my cube.
Yeah, so actually, I want to talk about my favorite archetypes in the Peasant Cube.
Yeah, let's
In
hear
your
about
cube
that.
specifically.
In my cube specifically.
All right.
So a lot of these that I'm going to talk about here are ones that like are probably going to show up regardless of what your Peasant Cube looks like. But there are also a whole bunch of like, any cube can be tailored to whatever archetypes you want, right? And so if like you are really coming off of, like my cube doesn't have a -1/-1 counters theme, but coming off of Amonkhet, there's like so many cool, like I would just want to put, is it Obelisk Spider? The new like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I just want to like
Yeah.
put that
Spider's
in.
so good.
Yeah, like there's been all these like cool, like back in like Shadowmoor, there were all these cool -1/-1 counter cards, but there weren't like quite enough to make them work in Peasant Cube. But now since they've like put out another set with all these cards that support the -1/-1 counters theme, you can like make that a thing, and like, but yeah, in my cube, the coolest archetype, in my opinion, is the blue-red spells archetype. This is the thing that you see show up in like lots of formats, right? Like
Yeah.
that's sort of the blue-red deck.
Yes.
Like we have that in Amonkhet right now, but it's like really hard to bring it together. But when you get like all of the best blue-red spells build around uncommons from the past 10 years and you put them all in the same place, like suddenly you can just like go off.
Sick.
Yeah, and you get to play like, so you get all the like baseline cards like your Preordain and your Brainstorm and just your little cantrips. And then you get to play oh my gosh, it's the Pyromancer's, not Ascension, I think, but it's like 3 in a red enchantment. Whenever you play your second spell for the turn, shock something.
I remember that card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's from like a core set, right? But you get to play that along with like Lightning Weaver, which was from, I can't even remember, it like pings a
It's the-
creature
it's the
every time.
1/4, yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Was that
time
from
you play.
the cons block?
I'm pretty sure it was
Yes.
Innistrad.
Or was it?
Or maybe it was Dragons.
Wherever
I don't know
it was
where any of
from,
these
it's
sets are
cheap.
anymore.
Wherever it was.
And then one of the like surprise like build around blue red spells on comments is
I I mean, you've definitely got like Enigma Drake in there, huh?
No, Enigma Drake isn't like good enough. So
Whoa! All right.
Part of the issue is like all of the really cool build around multicolor uncommons are like incredible, but like unless you want a multicolor cube specifically, like there's only room for a few. So we end up playing things more like Jilt and Fire and Ice as like really good like blue-red cantrips and spells that do cool stuff. No, the one that I really like is the Sphinx's Tutelage, which is the mill out card, right?
Yes.
But so you can do stuff like play like Sphinx's Tutelage and pick up maybe like a demonic tutor or something as like a second copy of it, and then just play a whole bunch of these cantrip spells. Like playing Sphinx's Tutelage with Brainstorm is like, you're just like, that's not good enough for Legacy, right? But like, and like Brainstorm's never going to be like modern legal, but that feels so unbelievably good to do, and you're never going to get to do it in another format.
You mean there's a cube where I can kill people with Sphinx's Tutelage again?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I'm in. There.
Can I ask a quick side question?
Yeah.
You mentioned Brainstorm, and I was just wondering, on the whole, how much is this, like, in, for example, your cube run somebody?
That's a really good question. You know, I didn't put it all together at the same time.
Sure.
So
just over time you built it up.
Yeah.
I can't.
But I know that like, you know, there are probably a couple dozen really expensive cards in it. You know, you got your Demonic Tutor and your Sylvan Library and your Maze of Ith and a few other like really expensive uncommons. Even like Path to Exile, you know, will run you a lot. But like,
you're only buying one.
Right. You're only buying one of each of these cards. A lot of people have like one of a lot of old cards lying around. That was my experience when I was putting this thing together. But also, if you don't want to include any of those things, like none of the expensive cards are like really the make or break cards, right? Like, you play Pyromancer's Assault. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Like the vast majority of the interesting cards are things like Pyromancer's Assault and Sphinx's Tutelage that were like really interesting and good in their limited format, but like will never ever be used in constructed.
Yeah.
The two actual to get back to archetypes a little bit, the two most important cards in the cube are Crystal Shard, which is a like throwaway uncommon from Fifth Dawn, I think.
I've never even heard of it.
Crystal Shard.
Crystal Shard is possibly my favorite Magic card because of this cube. Yeah, there you go. So it's a 3-mana artifact, and it says pay 3 or pay 1 blue and tap this. Return target creature to its owner's hand unless its controller pays 1 colorless mana. So it's unsummon a creature unless they pay 1, which seems like it's really bad. You just like try to unsummon your opponent's creatures and they pay 1 and whatever. It's like a stun rain you have to pay mana for every turn.
Yeah. Except
you can use it on your own creatures. So what you do is you get a whole bunch of like creatures with enter the battlefield abilities, like your Mana Wars or your, you know, Reflector Mage at Crystal Shard becomes like there are 2 creatures your opponents control that they're never going to be able to cast again because you're going to just Reflector Mage it every turn.
Yeah.
Or you can combine this with things like, you know, Shriekmaw. And so Shriekmaw is 4 and a black for a 3/2 fear. And it has, when it enters the battlefield, it destroys target non-black, non-artifact creature. Thank you. And it has Evoke for 1 and a black. And Evoke says you can play this creature for its Evoke cost, and then you sacrifice it immediately. So basically, this thing either is a 2-mana removal spell or 5-mana creature with a removal spell. But with Crystal Shard, you can play it out for its Evoke cost, kill something, immediately use the Crystal Shard to return it to your hand before you have to sacrifice it, and suddenly every turn you get to like pay 3 mana to kill a creature. And there are like all kinds of like weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so Crystal Shard does this weird thing where like suddenly every creature that you have that with an enter the battlefield ability becomes a ridiculous creature. And the other amazing card that gets picked up really quickly is Pelakka Worm, which is classic.
I remember this, friend.
Yeah. So Pelakka Worm is from Rise of the Eldrazi, which was this set all about giant creatures, right? And so it's 4 green, 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 so 7 mana for a 7/7 trample. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 7 life, and when it dies, you draw a card. And so you can do things like get a Pelakka Worm. You just like, you know, stall the board as much as you can until you can get to 7 mana, and then play it with either something like Crystal Shard, where you can play it every turn, or play it in black, where you can return it from your graveyard over and over again, or something like that, and just gain a ton of life and beat them down with a giant 7/7 trampler. And playing with like Pelakka Worm in constructed, it's like not ever going to be a good card, right? There are so many other cards that like cost 7 mana and have absurd stats and like do crazy things, but just like gaining life and I don't know. It's just such a wonderful card to play with, and it's like fair and something you would actually see in limited.
Yeah.
But also really fun.
Modern Masters, man.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Modern Masters is actually a really good comparison for what Peasant Cube feels like.
Oh, I love Modern Masters.
Yeah. And this is like getting to draft that all the time.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean that's a big sell. That's a good. If you were packaging this, you could put that on.
Yeah,
the,
it's like playing
on the
Modern Masters
top of the package.
all the time. So why don't you run us through a few more archetypes that you think are good ones to kind of either build into your Peasant Cube that you might be considering, or that you find in your cube.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing that I think is really important. Anyone in any cube, this is sort of even beyond just Peasant Cube. One thing people don't pay attention to often is making sure aggro decks have the tools they need to survive. So in my Peasant Cube, we focus on white, red, and black, so Mardu colors, as like really supporting aggro decks to make sure that they can thrive. Because control decks you don't really need to worry about, right? Like there are so many ridiculously good removal spells in the world and card draw spells in the world, especially at Uncommon. You know, you can play things like Fact or Fiction and Treasure Cruise and all that jazz. So you just kind of let control decks do their thing.
Treasure Cruise.
Yeah.
You said the magic word, Sam.
Yep.
Megan's going to be gone for the next 5 minutes, so...
What were you guys talking about? I was dreaming of a boat that draws cards.
Yeah. So for aggro decks, what we really focus on is like putting in a lot of really good 1-drops. So you just play like a bunch of creatures that like have 2 power and cost 1 mana. And then you just put a bunch of those in your white, red, and black colors. And you know, you get your like Thraben Inspector and your Mother of Runes, which is a ridiculously stupid card, and like a few other like interesting things.
Yeah.
You just like load up on 1-drops and like 3 power 2-drops and let that be a deck. And I think it's really important to do that to sort of like keep the more expensive decks in line. Yeah, because otherwise you end up before we were doing that in this cube, everyone would end up 50% of games would come down to decking, right? Because everyone would just sit there and like eventually just like stall the game out to get it. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I've cast a Palaka Worm 6 times, but you've cast a Muldrifter 4 times.
Yeah,
so
precisely. I've literally played that game several times. Listen, I love that game.
Yeah,
you know, you don't want to encourage that every time.
Yeah.
So another deck that to go on the Palaka Worm that I really like to support is the ramp decks, right? So you just put in green. We don't really have room for aggro because we just have a lot of mana elves. You know, it's similar to the sort of deck that you'd see in the kinds of decks you'd see in Legacy or Vintage Cube that are really based on playing a bunch of elves and then a Craterhoof Behemoth or what have you. Instead, you just top out with like Ulamog's Crusher or Breaker of Armies or Palaka Worm, something like that, right?
Cool.
And green can really support that with any other color. The other one, I mentioned this with Crystal Shard and Palaka Worm, but we have a lot of sort of blink decks going on. So these are decks that use, the poster child is like Momentary Blink, which we just saw in the latest Modern Masters, right?
There was
Cloud
the big...
Blazer?
Yeah, exactly. So Cloud Blazer is definitely in, right?
Okay.
And so the thing that you do is...
Megan's gone again.
Yeah.
All right.
These decks tend to be like some combination of not red colors, like often 3 colors, but you can sort of pick what you want in there. So for when they're banned, they tend to be like, you know, you play your Ghostly Flicker, which is like flicker 2 non-land permanents. Yeah. And so you can pick up things like Archaeomancer, which is a creature that will return an instant or sorcery when it comes into play to your hand. Yeah. And when you Ghostly Flicker that and another creature, when the Archaeomancer comes back, you can pick the Ghostly Flicker back up to your hand. And so the Ghostly Flicker just becomes almost like an enchantment of just like 2 and a blue mana flicker target creature, and you can do that as many times as you want. And so you can imagine a board where you have out Cloud Blazer, Archaeomancer, and Ghostly Flicker in your hand, and suddenly as many times as you want, you can pay 3 mana to gain 2 life and draw 2 cards.
What a world.
Yeah, and so often you'll end up with versions of that deck also that are like blue, green, and black that focus more on like reanimating things. Yeah. So you get old school cards. I think this is an Urza's Legacy card, Phyrexian Reclamation. It's a 1 black enchantment, and it says you can pay 1 and a black and 2 life to return any creature from your graveyard to your hand. So you know, you get that out with your Cloud Blazer or your Palaka Worm, and suddenly like you need some way to get the creature to the graveyard, but every time it does, you just bring it right on back and gain some more life and like do whatever the thing is again.
Nice.
Yeah. Then the other So the blue-red spells deck I also talked about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the final sort of like mechanical thematic deck, as opposed to just sort of like broad category of cards, is the +1/+1 counters deck that we've found recently. So this
Nice.
the poster child of the +1/+1 counters deck is Elite Scale Guard, which is from this was a build around being uncommon in not Khans of Tarkir, Dragons of Tarkir.
Yes.
Whatever that other set was. I didn't play very much Dragons. But it says 4 and a white, it's a 2/3, and it has bolster 2, so it like puts some +1/+1 counters on a creature when it comes into play. And then it says whenever you attack with a creature that has a +1/+1 counter on it, you can tap a creature the other player controls. And you play this with cards.
Okay, yeah.
Play this even with, imagine, like, Long Tusk Cub from Kaladesh here, right?
Yeah.
Or even Kuldatha Seed Sculptor we're playing in this cube, which was just the 1 and a green for a 1/2 that puts a 1/1 counter on something when it comes into play. Because that card, like, that card is basically just a 2/3 for 2, which isn't very impressive in a world full of like Cloud Blazers. Is sort of a standard kind of card. But when you combine that with cards like Elite Scale Guard or all the there was this whole series of cards in Khans of Tarkir that were like, all creatures you control, the +1/+1 counter on them have flying, or all creatures you control, the +1/+1 counter on them have X.
Abzan Falconer.
Exactly.
Yes. Too bad that, what is it, Hardened Scales is a rare.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
But so you can do some like really interesting +1/+1 counters things.
Nice.
I love
with
+1/+1 counters, so
yeah.
this is what I'm going to draft when I play your cube.
There
Thank
you go. And red actually has a lot of weird support for this because there are like an absurd number of red creatures that are like 2 mana for a 2/1 that like conditionally gets a +1/+1 counter.
Oh
on it.
yeah, Maria, you could bring back some of your Unleash favorites.
That's right.
Unleash!
Listen, the Unleash cards have never gone away from me because they're all in my cube and I play with them all the time.
Unleash, my favorite mechanic of all time, if people
There
didn't
you
know.
go.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm so in.
Yeah, but so imagine like a start that's just like, the Gorehouse Chainwalker on turn 2.
I imagine that every day.
And then on turn 3, you got the
Splatter Thug.
Thank you, the Splatter Thug. And then turn 4, like, burn away one of their creatures, and then turn 5, play yourself that Elite Scale Guard, and suddenly they like can't block any of your creatures because you just like tap them down whenever you go. So
That's so cool.
That kind of thing is really great.
Let's do it. Sorry, we're cutting this episode short this week to go do this right now.
So those are sort of the base archetypes that I support in my cube. But as I mentioned before, there's clearly like a -1/-1 counters archetype you can support.
Yeah,
you could do spider spawning if you wanted to.
Spider spawning. Oh, I forgot about the graveyard deck. There's a whole like blue, green, black graveyard deck that involves like blue cards that like, it's look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put one in your hand, the rest in your graveyard, so you can fill up your graveyard that way. And you get to play Nyx Weaver. I love the Nyx Weaver. So this was a Theros
That's
card.
right. The green-black one. Like 1 green-black.
yeah.
The enchantment spider.
Yeah. It's a 2/3 and you mills
know
yourself
that
for 2
spider.
every turn.
Yeah.
And so then you just like get your whole deck in your graveyard, including hopefully Unburial Rites, right? Which is the flashback reanimate spell. Or the other one that Dredge people play where you sacrifice 3 creatures and bring something back. You can do that kind of thing too. And there's like a minorly supported like black-red sacrifice deck we have going on too that plays like Goblin Bombardment and a lot of token making creatures.
All right,
or like
all right.
Mortar
Just
Pod
do
and stuff like
anything.
that. So that's basically what we support. I also, if you're interested in getting into this, building your own Peasant Cube, I highly recommend trying out some tribal themes. We've both discovered it. There's almost enough to make a like mono green elves deck really good. Like you can play Well-Wisher and like Priest of Titania and like all these cards that like do X for where X is the number of elves that you have in play.
Yeah,
are really good.
Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah, especially now with Amonkhet, zombies is very clearly a thing.
Yeah.
What about cats?
Oh well, not enough cats in Peasant yet. I don't know. You might be able to make that work in the.
Yeah, you're right.
But,
You're right.
Yeah.
What about horses?
There's still only the one horse tribal card,
Okay, never
right?
mind. Never mind.
Yeah. Although there's nothing that says you can't put
Someday.
in. I mean, first of all, you can make whatever cube you want.
That's true. There's no rules here.
Yeah, and also.
Mine's a Peasant Cube with one rare.
I was gonna say up next, Maria's horse tribal cube.
I'm actually really into the idea of experimenting with putting in like 1 gold rare per like multicolor color pair into the Peasant Cube because there are
Okay.
things missing right now. Like mass removal is extremely hard to come by. Like the best you
Yeah.
get is like infests, which gives all creatures -2/-2.
Yeah.
And then like big creatures just live through it. So I
Yeah.
want to just like put in a Supreme Verdict or something like
See
that.
what
You know
happens.
I
Don't we
mean?
all?
Yeah. And there's nothing that says you can't. You know, you're doing what you want. Although restrictions are fun. So, but so like, especially with Amonkhet now, you get your zombies tribal is like off the hook. There's like 6 different black zombie lords or something, and a bunch of like blue ones too. And if you really want that cat's cube, you can always just like add the creature type cat to a lot of cards and like go with that, which I bring up because if you add the creature type rebel to a bunch of creatures, white is traditionally a really bad color in Peasant Cube. Like there's just not quite enough to fill it out. But
Rebels are great, though.
rebels are great, especially if you like, you know, if you imagine adding the creature type rebel to a bunch of like, you know, medium kind of enters the battlefield creatures, then
Yeah.
suddenly like the rebels deck is a thing, and like it's this
Nice.
interesting extra archetype.
Don't worry,
Yeah,
we're going
yeah.
back to Lorwyn, you guys.
Yeah.
I feel it in my bones.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, there are all these other things. Like enchantment matters is a thing that almost works. Also, goblins is another tribal thing you could probably make happen. We're like really close to like a life gain archetype. We're not quite there, but after
you need something to be able to win with, right?
well, I mean, who really cares about winning a game when you can just like make creatures really big and gain a bunch of life? But you get,
Fine.
you know, there was that whole like black-white theme in the Battle for Zendikar, An Oath of the Gatewatch, where
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
would trigger when you gained
We
life.
had Felidar Sovereign is the
Yeah.
reason that I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there, I can't remember what it was called, but there was the one creature. It was like a white 2-mana 2/2. Whenever you gain life, pay a white and put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. If the like
Yes.
right, so if you got a few more cards at like that power level that like trigger when you gain life, and there's like 2 more of them, but like 3 payoffs isn't really enough.
Yeah.
You can combo those with like imagine having those with extort creatures.
Extort was great.
Right, that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
do that. All right.
And so there are a lot of other interesting things you can do there.
Nice.
So that's sort of my pitch for Peasant Cube. I love it. This is really my pitch for Peasant Cube.
Go for it.
We started doing this like 8 years ago.
I'm gonna put like soft music in the background.
Thank you.
Like
we started doing this 8 years ago. It was me and this like trio of brothers who I went on to live with and love so much, so dearly, so close to my heart. I don't know why that's
fought
funny.
side by side
Yeah.
in World War II. Brought our peasant cube in our backpack.
It's
Exactly.
the follow-up to Band of Brothers.
Yes, that's what I was
Trio of
thinking.
Brothers.
There it is.
Trio
There it
of
is.
brothers, but it's not about war at all. It's
not-
about
it's about
making a
playing
peasant
Magic
cube.
cards. It's
And
about-
Tom Hanks is still in it.
It's
Was-
about
if he was in
sitting
that movie.
in a garage in rural Minnesota, just chain smoking, and just like drafting all night long. And we've been doing this for so unbelievably long, and still when I go visit these guys who don't live in Minnesota anymore, I'll like bring the Peasant Cube along, and we'll keep playing it, and we still like it, and we still have fun. And any format that can survive for that amount of
Yeah.
time and still be my favorite format, like that's a format worth trying out.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So, and I love what you said earlier about like getting better by playing this all the time
Yeah.
because that's a big focus of the show. And if people are like, how do I improve? But you're like, I can't go out to a store and draft every week. I can't go out to an event every weekend.
Yeah.
Like that's not in the budget. Then this is a great way to be like,
Yeah.
you spend the one time, like you build the cube, you spend a little bit making it, but then you have it all the time to practice.
Absolutely. And really emphasizing that like none of the cards that are actually expensive in this cube. I think we have my list you're going to post in the show notes.
Yes,
or
we'll put
something.
your list in the show notes.
In
for
case
sure.
you're like, holy cow, this is a 400 and something cards is intimidating to come up with on my own. We're gonna post a list of Sam's cube in the comments.
And there are a whole bunch of resources on, all of your favorite Magic websites, I'm sure. Like there are a lot of forums where people talk about Peasant Cube building stuff too. But like really in that list, it'll be the list I'm posting is like 370 cards, something like that.
Yeah.
And there are a few cards in there that are in that like, $20 to $30 range or whatever, but like the cube doesn't need any of those, and there's only like 20 of them. And if you take 370 cards and take out those 20 expensive ones, what you're going to be left with is like 300 cards that are largely 10 cents each, and some of which are 25 cents each. And when that comes down to it, that's like, that's the cost of like 2, 3, maybe 4 drafts, but then we'll give you drafts for the next 8 years. So
Awesome.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for imparting your pauper and peasant cube knowledge on us.
Listen, I'm just sad that the timing didn't work out for me to come on the show and do this pitch when they were doing the You Make the Cube contest.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a peasant cube that my peasant cube didn't get selected, but someone else's, I'm sure, very good peasant cube got selected as one of the options
So
there.
that everybody would vote for you?
Yeah,
for
and
it?
it came in like last. I understand it. People don't think commons and uncommons are exciting, but listen, I'm here to tell you. Don't understand how great these
You
decks
guys,
are.
commons and uncommons are exciting.
I just want to, all I want to do is like sit around and like all day with my 4 mana up and like dismiss whatever you play or factor fiction when you don't play anything and like deck you out with Elixir of Immortality and like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Are there any cards that there's like no bans or anything in this format?
Oh, so you can do what you want. I mean, like, I personally banned, like, Soul Ring is kind of ridiculous.
Okay.
Like, Skull Clamp, maybe we don't need that.
Okay.
Loxodon Warhammer is something you wouldn't necessarily expect needs to be banned, but is, like, dumb and you shouldn't play with it. And then the last bunch of cards that you want to be careful with is Conspiracies. So I love playing with the Draft Matters cards from the various Conspiracy sets.
Yeah.
They're really fun. And especially like some of the guy with the Clockwork Librarian, where it's like you can draft him out of a pack, but then when you get a pack, you can put him back into the pack and take
And
2
pull out
cards.
2?
Yeah, so like that's a really interesting and fun card. And there are a whole bunch of these Conspiracies that are like name a card, and then when you cast that card, like do something with it, like put an extra +1/+1 counter on or whatever. A lot of those are extremely abusable. Like so the one I just mentioned, like there's one that's like name a creature ahead of time, and like when you play a creature with that name, it comes into play with an extra +1/+1 counter on it. Well, you just need to pick up any persist creature, and suddenly that card is really dumb because the persist creature can never die.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so like that's not cool. And there's another one that's like copies an instant or sorcery, like for an instant or sorcery that you've named. Like that's also really just not fun. There are a couple of them that are really good. There's one that makes any creature Birds of Paradise that's really fun. There's one that gives any creature haste that's really fun. But Conspiracies are another thing you want to be careful with.
Be careful with them.
But other than those, like 3 cards. Oh, Maze of Ith. Maze of Ith is the other one you want to be careful with. I think Maze of Ith is good and playable, but like not everyone.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
Maze of Ith. Not for everyone.
Not for everybody.
Yeah. That's sort of the cards to be watchful of.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, this is some awesome tips.
Yeah.
And I encourage people to get out there. If you're inspired by this, start building and see if you can have a really fun, sustainable cube that you can play over the years with your friends in a Minnesotan garage.
Yes. Specifically in a garage in Minnesota.
Hey, Sam, you want to stick around and play a game?
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Flavor Text Theater presents Two Truths and a Lie.
Hey everybody, I've written some flavor text specifically for Hour of Devastation. We're going to crack a couple of packs, and I'm going to read 2 pieces of flavor text that come from cards, and 1 piece of flavor text that I have written. And Maria and Sam are going to each take a guess at which is the piece of flavor text I have written.
Okay.
You know, I've actually played this game before.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Well, like driving on road trips to Grand Prix, just have
Alright.
people like crack open packs and be like, what card is this flavor text from? And then just like lie about
Yes.
I didn't know I was playing this game before. but,
Yeah.
yeah.
You'll notice Meghan is playing with a Dungeon Master shield, so we cannot see what she
Yes.
has written versus what she is pulling from these packs. These packs, by the way, going into our drawing for July at the end of the month. If you're a patron, your name is in the hat, as it were, the proverbial hat, for winning all the cards that we open in Flavor Text Theater this month, and some other awesome goodies like unopened packs, some stuff from Card Kingdom, playmats, blah, 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 blah. So head over there if you want to be in for winning these cards that we open. I don't know, maybe there's a Nikki B. You never know.
All right, are you ready for the first one?
Yes.
Here we go.
I'm so nervous.
The Minotaur stared at the Eternal bearing down on him, the embodiment of deadly skill he had aspired to become.
Ooh.
I just realized I don't know any of the cards in this set.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
okay. It doesn't
We
matter.
don't know
Oh,
either.
we don't need to name the card.
No, we just
all
read
right.
which one is real.
No, which one is
Good,
real?
good.
Oketra's body lay amidst the rubble, a warning for all who still harbored hope.
Ooh.
What will happen to us? They asked. The vizier paused. I think that's up to us now.
Oh, I know that.
Ooh,
I know that last one.
I feel like that one is real because I also think
I've
I know
read,
that
I've
one.
read that one. I'm pretty sure the middle one's real.
The fake one?
No, I'm pretty sure the middle one's real. But
Because of-
I also can't remember the first one.
I feel like
because
the
was
middle one could be
panicking
on
instead.
Solemnity.
I don't
Okay,
know
I'm
that's
gonna vote for number one. Number one.
Can we hear number one again?
Yeah. The Minotaur stared at the Eternal bearing down on him, the embodiment of deadly skill he had aspired to become.
That's a cool flavor text. But I think Meghan wrote it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I bet Megan's good enough to write that.
So which one are you voting for?
I'm voting for number one.
Okay,
It's
we're
the fake
both
one.
voting for number one fake.
Number 1 is from the card Kindled Fury.
So you wrote number 2?
I wrote number 2. I
you
wrote
did a good
number
job.
2.
That's what I was like. Oh, it's got to be on Solemnity.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a
We
future
are
job on
both
that.
at 0.
Yes,
Maria
and you
0.
both-
Sam 0.
I'm pretty sure it's really similar to the flavor text
Meghan
on
won.
the
oh yeah, Megan's at 1.
what's the one on the card where it's like Kefnet and he's like dying?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah,
gurgles
yeah.
of a fallen god. Or
Oh,
whatever.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dirtliest card I've ever dirtled. I thought it was on that
Dirtle
card. I'm pretty
Gurgles
sure
is
it's
the
very
name.
similar to the flavor text on that card.
Can we
And you
nickname
both-
that card Dirtle Gurgles?
Oh
Yes.
God. You both correctly identified that Survivor's Encampment was
Yeah. Okay.
was a piece of flavor text.
No,
that
so that's me. It
real.
was such an inspiring moment painted by the word picture in that flavor text.
Yeah, absolutely.
right.
Okay.
All right.
How many rounds do we have here?
We have 4 rounds.
4 rounds. All right. Megan's at 1. We're both at 0. Sam.
Okay.
You gotta
Step
come
this
back.
up.
Here we go.
I feel like I need to pick different ones from you though, so that I can beat you.
All right. That's your strategy.
All right, here we go. With the Hekma destroyed, the wandering dead that sought entrance to Noctimun had free reign to lay waste to the city. Why wander in search of a new home when the path is laid out before you?
that was 2?
Wait, yeah, that was 2 of them.
Okay.
As Noctimun crumbled, the god pharaohs smiled, and Hazaret knew they had been betrayed.
Wow.
So I'll read all 3 of those again. You guys can hear them one more
Okay.
time. First one. With the Hekma destroyed, the wandering dead that sought entrance to Noctimun had free reign to lay waste to the city. 2. Why wander in search of a new home when the path is laid out before you? 3. As Noctimun crumbled, the god pharaoh smiled, and Hazaret knew they had been betrayed.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I've seen both 1 and 3 on flavor text.
Well, that's what you said before, too.
I know.
So you're going to guess number 2, because I was also going to guess number 2.
Yeah. I think number 2. I've decided
right.
that I like talking it out more than I actually like beating you, and I can
Okay.
focus on just beating Megan.
Well, if you're going to guess 2, I'll guess 3, so we're going to spread out our votes to try and beat Megan.
All right. Well, but does she get a point if she fools one of us?
Wait, I think
Okay,
that
so you
it
get
should
2
be.
points.
I should be that you should have to. Okay, so I get a point for each person
Each
that I
fool. Yeah. All right.
Wow,
You-
I get a point for each fool.
point per fool. So
Wow.
Megan's at 2.
She's
right.
getting a lot of points by the end of this.
Okay, the second one is from Traveler's Amulet, and the third one is mine.
Wait, what was the third one again?
As Noctimun crumbled, the god pharaoh smiled, and Hazaret knew they had been betrayed.
Okay,
Yeah,
Maria 1,
okay.
Megan 3. That one is excellent flavor text, though. I just want to point out.
Yeah,
Very
gotta
good.
get hired here, Megan. It's like this is like your job pitch, right?
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's impossible for Megan to lose this game technically right now. By the way, unless we pick only
Yeah.
the same ones.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, and I'm gonna crack another booster.
Okay.
So I have a few more options, and to be fair, I'm getting to pick a little bit.
Was that land the rare, by the way? I can't remember.
Oh wait, no, Survivor's Encampment was not the rare. I haven't read the rare yet, so I haven't even seen it yet. I don't think.
I'm just in suspense over here of what the rare was. Megan opens an invocation, throws it to
Yeah,
the
just
side.
rips it up, throws it in the garbage.
Oh boy.
All right.
Have you gotten to play any hour yet, Sam?
Yeah, I got to play the Two-Headed Giant yesterday.
Oh, sweet. How'd you do?
We went 2 and 2. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because we had one of the most disgusting white black zombies decks I've ever seen, and then decided why don't we just also build a red blue deck that does nothing? And so I played that deck and I did nothing. We decided that we wanted to play unsummons instead of cards that matter. And
Yeah.
I mean,
then lost.
Unsummon's
Fair.
pretty fun, though.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's the first one. Nicol Bolas's arrival laid bare the shining city's dark foundations. 2. The desert is a voracious beast, devouring both flesh and stone. 3. Initiates once believed defeat was the worst fate possible, a sentiment they quickly abandoned.
You're too good
Wow.
at this, Megan.
Here we go.
These are all
Yeah.
undoubtedly real cards.
Here, I'm gonna give you all 3 again. 1. Nicol Bolas's arrival laid bare the shining city's dark foundations. 2. The desert is a voracious beast, devouring both flesh and stone. 3. Initiates once believed defeat was the worst fate possible, a sentiment they quickly abandoned.
I'm going. Oh, gosh, number 3 sounds like something Meghan would write, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say number 1.
I was gonna go with number 3.
Okay.
All right, I'll stick with 3.
Number 3 is from Lethal Sting. And number 1, I wrote.
You have this advantage of Meghan better than me.
That's
Yeah,
very
that's
true.
true.
That's
That's
very
true.
true.
All right, I have 2. Sam 0, Meghan 4.
All right. The law of small numbers says I should get the next one. So
Let's see. I have okay. Here's gonna be the final. It's the final one.
round. Okay. The final round down.
That's like how you teach rounding down in
Yeah.
math.
I would, if I was a math teacher, I'd come in with like a wrestling gear on and be like, "It's the final round."
I bet that exists on the depths of YouTube somewhere, right? Like,
Yeah. Everything exists in the depths of YouTube, I'm sure. Okay.
Oh man, I'm just also being mean and like picking things that sound similar.
so this is the thing. Like, the ones that it seems like Meghan has a thing about writing ones that are like about story moments or about like that kind of thing.
Okay, all right.
Both the last times we've had the ones where like it's about more of like an abstract idea. Those
Sure.
ones have been on the cards. So that's like part of my strategy going forward.
Okay, that sounds like a good strat.
Try to like leave those for the cards.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna find.
She's really crafting this last
Yeah,
one
I
to
am.
get us.
Yeah, I am.
Just to get us. Are you on Twitter, Sam, by the way?
I am on Twitter. I am at the Poop Spurt on Twitter.
Okay. Sorry,
You can follow
I
me.
asked.
I tweet about various movies and web series that I make, including the Poop Spurt with Sam Dunnewald, a web series all about poop. And I mostly retweet political nonsense. And
What is
Fair enough.
the poop? What on earth is this about?
so, well, it's the Poop Spurt is it's like I'm a poop expert.
Yeah.
And so like I'm
Got
there
it.
and like every episode we talk about a different
About poop?
topic. So like last time I was making new episodes, I did a couple of interviews with my cousin who's a new mother about changing diapers and about
Sure.
baby poop. But we've also done episodes on like the Bristol stool scale, which is like a medical scale that's like rating the consistency of like softness or hardness of poop on like a 1 to 7 rating.
Like Mohs scale of hardness,
Yeah.
but for
Or sometimes we play What Color is My Poop Today?
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
So have you done episodes on number 1 owl scat and number 2 that cat poop coffee?
No, I haven't.
Okay, put those under your
the
hat.
cat poop coffee I've like retweeted about for sure.
Okay.
A lot of people sent me that article or the various articles about it.
Just
Yeah.
think about it.
All right.
What about animals that don't poop? Okay, now, okay.
Back to flavor text.
I've been done for a while. I was just letting you guys.
Letting us talk about poop.
exactly.
Listen, I'm in the
Go
room.
for it.
There's going to be some of that.
All right, here we go. It's the last one.
All right.
The god Pharaoh's benevolence concealed the factory he created to produce an army of Eternals. That's 1. 2. Bantu's ambition made her Nicol Bolas's willing tool of deception. 3. The truth, it's been here all along. The hours as we understood them are lies.
All right. I think you
Ooh.
wrote the first one.
I also want to guess number 1.
Then guess number 1. We can take her down a peg.
Read it one more time.
Okay. 1. The god Pharaoh's benevolence concealed the factory he created to produce an army of Eternals. 2. Bantu's ambition made her Nicol Bolas's willing tool of deception. 3. The truth, it's been here all along. The hours as we understood them are lies.
Okay,
So-
number 3 I know is a card.
Yeah, number 3 is one of those more like a little bit more abstract moments.
And it's
it
also
feels
a
like.
very good piece of flavor text.
Sure.
Shout out to whoever wrote that. I like that.
And I'm pretty sure I recognize the second one. And the first one feels like it falls into Megan's category of like writing about a particular
Oh, but she could
moment.
be trying to get us because the second one's so simple.
She could absolutely be trying to get us, and kudos to her if she's got me. But
Okay.
I'm going with the first one.
Okay, number 1.
Going with it.
Number 1 is from Frontline Devastation. And the second one is mine.
See, that's what I was like. That's what she's gonna do. She's gonna flip the script on us and do a simple one. Also, top-notch strategy in Balderdash, by the way, to do a really simple one.
Man.
I am humiliated.
Sam has 0. I finished the game with 2. Megan wins with 5.
There you go.
6, because I got both of you that time.
6.
Although I think that you then have that because I had doubled the opportunities to get points. Or we
Even if we have
together.
your number of points, you still have 3, and that's better than us
That's
combined.
true.
Yeah,
know.
very true. Well, thanks for playing, Sam.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks for
thank you so much for
playing.
having me.
Well, everybody, that's our episode for this week. Thanks again to Sam for sticking around and playing Peasant Cube Master with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was the best.
Once again, if you have not yet watched it, head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MTAcast. You can check out some video from our pre-release last weekend. You can also find episodes of My Roommate as a Planeswalker, our PSAs, deck techs, and more.
Yes, and a big thank you, of course, to everybody who joined our family this week on patreon.com/MTAcast. Remember, you can still join before the end of the month to get in our sweet drawing.
That's right. Oh, what were
And
the
just
rares?
feel- oh,
in this
yeah, say
pack?
the rares.
By the way, there was Hostile Desert.
Oh, cool.
I got 2 of those in my 2-headed giant pool.
Nice. And then, there's a River Hoopoe.
Oh, that which is going
Cute.
straight into the Peasant Cube.
So
straight into the
cute.
Peasant
That
There you
Cube.
card's
go.
so good.
So cute. There's a Foil Sandblast.
Nice.
And then, where was it? I know I remember seeing. Oh, it's a Crested Sunmare.
Horse!
Indestructible
Get
horse.
started on your horse deck
Yay.
by winning this.
Do you guys know, are horses like an Egypt mythology thing? Like, why is that card in this set?
I have no
I actually
idea.
don't know.
Listen, it's ballin'. I just want someone to go out there and do the research for me and tell me like how
Why?
Why
how
that's
crested
why?
sunmares fit into Egyptian mythology.
Sometimes you just want
Fair
to
enough.
print a horse,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Sometimes you just need to, you know.
Yeah. Anyways, like Maria said, head on over. If you sign up by the end of the month, you could be entered in a drawing for these.
Thank you again to our sponsor, cardkingdom.com/MTAcast. Make sure if you're heading over there to buy cards to please use the affiliate links. It's the only way they know that you are supporting our show by heading over and buying cards from them, and a fantastic store to buy cards from. Again, say you want an MTAcast sticker in your order and they will, as Megan said, slap one into your order.
Slap it
Just
in there.
slap in there. And go over and sub on our YouTube channel so we can be alerted whenever we post a new video, because we're doing that twice a week and sometimes more. So
That's right.
You wanna stay in the know. Next week, of course, more great Hour of Devastation stuff. We're gonna talk more about Hour of Devastation draft because
It'll be
we'll
great.
have had a chance to do that.
That's
and of
right.
course, we're probably gonna hit up the stream after this episode. So twitch.tv/magicallyamateur is the place to go to be notified when we're streaming
Sweet.
and dreaming. So just so many ways to stay in touch, and we hope that you do, because you're friends/family/ mothers-in-laws out there in the audience. So thank you for being all those things for us.
Specifically, thank you to everyone who's being my mother-in-law.